Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
This is Alex. This is the Ramble. And we go from now until midnight. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. Once again, we like talking to him once a week. His name is Steve Kravitz. He's a comedian, well, in absentia.
Yeah.
When's the last time he actually stood on the stage and did comedy?
February 2020.
February 2020, and that was it.
Yep.
And how do you feel about that? Are you bothered by it?
Yeah, I'd like to be working.
Yeah. And it isn't even a matter of working, it's a matter of exercising.
That's right.
You know? Oops. Because people don't understand. Oops. There goes you.
I got rid of it.
Oh, okay. People don't understand, but it's like a muscle.
Right.
You know, and,
absolutely.
And if you don't exercise it, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that well. I mean,
that's right.
When you get up, you've probably gotten up after a long period of time of not being on stage.
Right.
What did that feel like to you? Did you feel rusty?
Yes. You feel like you forget stuff. You forget some of the nuances.
Yeah, and what explain those nuances to the audience.
You know, a bit has so many pieces to it, and you would forget part of the piece.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do a thing on Jesus, and I would forget the Mormons. I don't know how you could do that, but I would.
Yeah. So, and you start telling a joke, and all of a sudden you'd realize that you had told it all wrong or something like that.
Right, exactly. You left something out.
You kind of feel like the guy at a party who tries to tell everybody a joke but gets it all wrong.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not funny, and then you stand there and look like a carp with your mouth wide open.
Right, right. You need to find a gymnasium where you can work out.
Well,
there's no pressure.
Yeah. And there used to be those gyms. I mean, in San Francisco, it was the Holy City Zoo.
That's right.
It was this small little club where, I mean, the people were so close to you, they were almost on stage. And
that's right. It only sat 74.
Yeah. And you could go in there and you could experiment, and you were kind of, the audience expected you to.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So that was like a gym, okay? And then you went out and you ran the Olympics or whatever at some club.
Right. Ran the marathon.
Yeah, because when you play a place like the Punchline in San Francisco, which was a big comedy club, you had to be really ready to go. You know? You had to be on your A game.
That's right.
And somebody keeps calling you. Why don't you just pick it up and say you're talking to somebody here? You know?
Because they're spam calls.
Is it really? I hate those. I hate those. You know, when's the government going to? I don't know if they can clamp down on them, because I don't know if they even come from the United States.
No, and if you block the number, they'll just dial from another number.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they have this do not call list that you signed up for, and I signed up for it, and they.
So did I.
Yeah, and they kept calling. They found ways around it.
Right.
And what bothers me greatly about the way they're, this problem of these spam calls is that there, especially for me, there are certain important calls I'm going to get, and sometimes they're from a doctor or a hospital or whatever, some kind of not emergency, but something I need to know, and then they're calling, and somehow it doesn't recognize them as a legitimate call, and then I get spam risk up there. But it's really my doctor trying to call.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're really endangering the American public by the
Really?
spam. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, how many times do you not call because answer because it says spam, but maybe it is an important call, but it's recognizing it as spam.
Right, right. No, I
Yeah,
get you. I
yeah,
get you.
yeah. So I mean, that's the problem. Uh,
Well, that's what voicemail is for.
well, that's what voicemail is for. Well, yeah, yeah. I usually
Right,
I usually have it go to voicemail, and then I listen to the message, and maybe it's the doctor going, "Hey, would you please call us? We need to talk to you." You
right,
know,
right, 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 right.
yeah. You've got cancer. See you later. You know,
Right. Talk to you soon.
yeah. So
Hey, you got a haircut.
no, I didn't get a hair. Well, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, my wife does it. You know,
Oh, really?
well, I was starting to get COVID hair. You right?
Right.
And I needed some way to get a haircut. And I said, well, why don't we just try getting one of these, you know, thingies, these,
Right.
you know,
I know what you're talking about.
the you know, the clippers.
Yeah, the
So I
thingy.
went online to go get them at Amazon, and you couldn't find them because they were out of them because everybody
Really?
was buying them. Okay, because of COVID.
Right.
So I just went. I think it was on the eBay, and I bought one on eBay for the same price I would have gotten it on Amazon, and
Sure.
they were easily available on eBay. So I got one, and then I took the chance and said, "Okay, wife, do what my barber does. You know, I don't have a complicated haircut here,
Right. Right.
And
Right.
she went
Right.
zip, 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 and I went, looks pretty good, you know.
Looks great.
If it doesn't grow out well, we can just zip, zip, zip it in another week or two, you know,
Sure.
and keep me at a substantially short length.
Right.
And so that's how I started getting the haircut. But I've come to this whole thing. I decided in this interview not to wear the cap
I like it.
because for the longest time, I have been bothered by people who hide their baldness. Okay, I mean, why are you doing this, or why are you combing it over, or why are
Oh,
you doing it?
well, the comb over's got to go.
Any number of things. Okay, and today and then I today thought, well, you know, every time I do the show, I wear a cap. Why am I wearing a cap? There's no reason for me to wear a cap,
Right.
right? Except that I want to hide the baldness. So
Why do you want to hide it?
I finally decided the hell with it. You know, I have
Why
like,
do you want to hide? Why do you want to hide it, Alex? You're bald.
well, I mean, I'd also like to have these bags taken care of. You know,
What? You're gonna go have plastic surgery?
well, I have to have my eyes done for medical reasons. I have to have them. I have these drooping lids, and it impedes my vision a bit, and so they're going to lift them. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, while I'm there, if I want to get these bags out, I can pay another 2,000. I can pay $2,000. It's not covered by insurance, but I'd be doing it at the same time the person would be using the operating room, so it'd only be $2,000 to get rid of the
Right,
bags.
right. So you're gonna do it?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Nah.
You know, my feeling is what I get my face done. I'm looking younger, 5 years younger or whatever, and then I drop dead. You know, so what, you know, if this were like 10 years ago, maybe I would have thought more seriously about it. But then again,
Right.
I didn't have the bags as badly as I do now. Although
Right.
they're not terrible, are they?
No.
No, no. But they're the one part of my face that bothers me. Yeah,
Well.
not the nose.
No, the only time my nose bothers me is when I see a picture profile.
Oh, okay. Turn profile. Let me see what you're talking about. Oh, but that's a great comic nose, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, my mom wanted to fix it when
Yeah.
I was in high school, and I said, no, it's my nose.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to. My nose has gotten, I think it's gotten fatter as I've gotten older. You know?
Mine's gotten crooked.
It's gotten crooked?
Yeah,
What do you mean? It's a skew?
it's a little off to one side.
Yeah, you're right. It is a little off to one side. Not much, you know.
Not much.
But then again, you know, as an actor, you're a character actor. What do you want to do?
Right.
Lose character?
Right.
You know. Are you going to go out for movies again eventually?
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, how do you do that? I mean, you got to get an agent, right?
Right, right. Which is the hard part.
Yeah. Now you had agents before, right?
Oh,
For
sure.
the
Had
other.
managers, had agents.
Yeah. And so could you go back to some of those old agents and say,
Well, they're all in California.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, but in this day and age, I mean, people are. If you get a job in California, you're how many hours away from California?
Right. 6.
6 hours. It's not like you're not available.
Right, 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 right.
I mean, the only problem is you might have to fly in for an audition, and that's
It
not.
would have to be a major part to fly in for an audition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It couldn't be like one scene. It would have to be multiple scenes.
But then again, there are a lot of films being made in New York
And in Boston.
and in Boston. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like the old days where you had to be in Hollywood. I got to go to Hollywood. That's where the
Right.
business is. I mean, guys in San Francisco, the comedians in San Francisco, eventually were moving down to L.A. so they could get TV work and movie work.
That's right. That's right. San Francisco is where you learn the craft. And once you learn the craft and you were a seasoned comic, then you would go to LA.
Yeah, yeah,
And the Boston comics would go to New York,
exactly. Yeah.
you know?
Although at one point there wasn't a lot of work in New York.
Right.
At one point it was all pretty much California TV, movies, commercials, all of that. The commercials aren't even. I wanted to do voiceovers, okay, and so I
Right.
asked a friend of mine who does them, who work with me at SiriusXM. What about it? How do I get into this? And he said to me, "You don't." He said, "There's no business right now." He
Right.
said,
And it's a very closed community.
well, it's not that. It's not really that. In the old days, it used to be. I used to go in for a lot of auditions here in New York. Okay, and
Right.
all the ad companies were on Madison Avenue, and so all the ads were done in New York. And so you could go for the auditions here, one after the other, if you really wanted to.
Sure.
I always found them a little frustrating because I'd be sitting there, they'd go, okay, well you're trying out for this one, right? Yeah, well here's the copy, and
Right.
you're in the lobby, right? And you're reading the copy and looking at it and saying, how am I going to do this? And all of
Right.
a sudden you hear off the side of your ear, she says, and your name is, and he goes, Orson Welles. And you go, well, that's it. I'll see you later. And there were any number of guys who got all the work. There was a guy by the name of Richard Kyle, who was on Broadway and stuff like that, and did some movies. He was on everything.
Really?
Oh yeah. So you'd hear him come into an audition, and you go, no way I'm getting this.
Right.
Why did they even ask me?
There you go.
And then there's
That's like you go to an audition. If you're not wearing a cowboy hat, they don't know why you're there.
well, also in the audition. Now this is what gets me in the audition. They're kind of demeaning because
Yes.
they sit there and they give you the copy and they say, now read the copy, right? And you read the copy and thank you very much. We'll let you know. Okay. Well, this one I was doing, I walked in. And they handed me the copy. I hadn't seen it in advance. They handed me the copy, and the copy read, Susie may know a lot about skinny knits, whatever that was, but what she doesn't know is she has ho-hum mouth.
What the heck?
Yeah, well, I started to read this, and I
bet.
Huh?
I bet.
I started to read this, as I was instructed to do. Mr. Bennett, start reading it. And I go, Susie may know a lot about skinny knits, but what she doesn't know is she has ho-hum mouth. And I started breaking up laughing. And they said, is there a problem, Mr. Bennett? No, let me try it again. She knows a lot about skinny knits, but what she doesn't know is she has and every time I hit the line, I start breaking up. And finally, after about the third time, they said, is there a problem, Mr. Bennett? And I said, yeah, this is the biggest piece of crap I've ever had to read in my life. And they said, "Thank you very much."
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who wrote it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. They were insulted by it. But then
Right.
the other problem was is that sometimes I would be asked to go to an audition, and it was just a bunch of women who were holding the auditions who wanted to see what Alex Bennett looked like.
Really?
Yeah. So I would go in, and they were there just to see who I was, what I looked like. They didn't care whether I got the job or not. Never got a job off of any of these auditions. I'm a lousy auditioner. The only time I ever got a voice on anything was because I knew somebody and they were doing the job and they said, "You want to come in and do the voice?"
Right.
But I mean, but you know, but voiceovers isn't an area you ever went out for, right?
No, not at all. Although I did do a radio commercial for McDonald's
Did you?
years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And what did you say?
It was something about a cheeseburger.
Nothing about skinny knits?
No, nothing about ho-hum mouth.
Yeah. Whoever came up with that term ho-hum mouth should have been shot.
Yeah, and what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, well, I was always a big guy I could have gone into advertising. At one point in my career, I was writing a lot of copy for a radio station, and one of the major agencies, I think it was J. Walter Thompson out of San Francisco, wanted me to come to work for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I thought about it, and then I said no. And they said, "Well, why?" I said, "For me, it's too easy.
Right.
I can write copy in my sleep. You know, I can come up with slogans for ads in my sleep." I said, "It's just too easy for me. I want to stay in radio. It's hard."
Right.
You know, and so I never went into advertising, but I always had an advertising sense. So when I would go in and read something, he knows a lot about skinny knits, but what she doesn't know is she has ho-hum mouth, and I laugh. I'm laughing because I know this is the shittiest piece of I would have never written something like this.
Right. And how did it get greenlit?
Well, they just because agencies never were bright. Okay, it was everybody trying to act like they were bright, but
Sure.
there were other people that knew better. You know,
Right.
It's kind of like the director who's so welled up in his own ego. You know this because you're an actor, right?
Right.
So welled up in his own ego that he doesn't trust the actor and their
Right.
judgment.
Right.
You know,
Right. Or the actor you're playing a scene with is all welled up in their ego. Like when I did Nash Bridges with what's his name? Johnson.
Don Johnson, yeah.
Don Johnson. I mean, there was one day where we shot a scene and he kept accusing me of jumping lines, of padding my lines, and then he went back and looked at the script and apologized because I was doing the lines exactly as written.
Was he kind of an asshole to work with?
Yes.
Oh,
In fact,
okay, well.
it was the only one. Listen to this. I'm shooting this long scene. It's a long shot.
Yeah.
You know, usually you do just a few lines and then you move on.
Mm-hmm.
This was a long, steady cam shot up through the barge and up the stairs. And halfway up the stairs, I blew the line. And this is after I've been yelled at like 3 or 4 times for padding lines and whatnot. And I blew the line and I threw the script up in the air and went, "Fuck this. Fuck everything. Fuck you. Fuck all of it. Goodbye. I'm done." And then all of a sudden, Don was a nice guy, put his arm around me and said, "Come on, we'll do this. We'll get this in one shot."
Okay.
And we did.
Mm-hmm.
And we did.
Yeah. So you learned how to tame Don Johnson by just getting mad.
By getting really angry.
Yeah.
That's like in another scene, I was supposed to, this guy gets shot. And I'm a lawyer, but he like got shot robbing me. So I go into the hospital room and I'm supposed to jump up on the bed and punch him in the face. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to punch anybody in the face. So I throw a stage punch. And Johnson doesn't believe it. He says, "Look, if I don't buy it, nobody's going to buy it." So instead what I did was he was shot in the shoulder. So instead of hitting him in the face, I hit him in the bullet wound,
Uh-huh.
and I hit him hard.
Yeah.
And then they pulled me off, and I got a bloody nose. And Johnson was thrilled with the whole scene.
Wow. Wow. But he really wanted you to punch him in the nose?
Punch him in the face.
But you don't do that in movies.
No, you don't. That's why they call them movies. That's why it's called acting. That's like I was doing a movie with this one guy, and in the scene he's supposed to be drunk. So he shows up drunk. And I said to him, if you were supposed to be shot, would you show up shot? I mean, what are you doing? This is so unprofessional of you. And he, just in his little stupor said, I'm the star of the film, and shut up.
Yeah, well, I came in drunk because I'm a method actor.
Right. I shot myself in the leg because I'm a method actor.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's amazing. But and I imagine you're pretty easy to work with as an actor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're not temperamental. You did get temperamental at one time. But,
right.
But basically, I mean, I'm sure there weren't directors who said, "Don't hire this guy. He's a pain in the ass."
No, I usually got hired back.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate.
Did you do only one Nash Bridges though?
No, I did. I was a recurring character.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how many episodes would you say you did of Nash Bridges? I could look it up,
I don't know, 6, 8,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Well, I just, I mean, you actually had a very good movie career going for you, and television
Yes.
career. I mean, you
Yes.
were getting the job. So what happened? Drugs?
Yes. When I shot the series in 1999, that was probably the peak of my drug use.
What series was that?
It's called Black Scorpion on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, okay.
And I was horrible in it. It was a horrible show.
Uh-huh.
It was horribly written.
Yeah.
It was horribly directed. And I was even worse.
Wow.
I was terrible.
Yeah.
I was unwatchable.
So that is when you kind of got out of acting, or I mean,
Right.
So it was your decision not to seek any more jobs for the time.
Right.
being.
And then Rob Schneider came to me and offered me a part. And then I did another film with Rob. I did 2 with Rob that he offered me parts for.
Which were they again? There was
The Animal
the animal, yeah,
and the Hot Chick.
and the hot chick. Okay. So Bob, my friend Bob Rubin, was in what, The Animal?
That's right.
Yeah. In fact, what's nice about Schneider is he hired a lot of people he knew
Right.
and shared his good fortune with other people, which I always thought was very nice.
That's like the more successful Kevin Pollak got, the nicer he became.
Yes. Well, I always tell the story about Kevin Pollak, that he had a kind of a character he did, which was a brash kind of like walk into a room and go, "Oh no, don't stand up," that kind of guy. That kind of guy.
Right.
And after a while, he got to believe that character. He started becoming the character that he created,
Right.
and it was terrible. He was a horrible guy to hang around. And all of a sudden, I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden he got humble.
Right. Right.
All of a sudden he got decent. And I think maybe it was confidence, that he was starting to get enough jobs that he had confidence. He didn't need to play that character any longer. And he became a very nice guy.
Right. Very nice. The more successful he became, the nicer he became.
Yeah.
And it's usually just the opposite.
Yes. But some people lack confidence, and that's the reason they are the way they are. And then when they finally have confidence, they're fine.
Right.
So it's terrific. Hey, listen, looks like we're kind of running out of time here. But
Alrighty.
what's your week like? What's the next week going to be like for you?
Well, I'm going to get my hair cut off, I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it.
That's about it.
Yeah. We're going out to an anniversary dinner tonight.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, it's not. Our anniversary was about a month ago, but we didn't go because of COVID. now the restaurants have opened, so we decided to go to our favorite restaurant.
And you've had both your shots.
Oh yeah, I've had both my shots. And,
yeah, me too.
You know, and I'm getting my shot for distemper and things like. I'm getting all the animal shots too. Hey,
right. Might as well.
Can we talk to you next week?
Yes, sir.
I would love to do that, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, Steve Kravitz. Bye, Steve.
Bye, Alex.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Yes, Steve Kravitz. So let me turn on the lights here so you can see me. Here. How are you? We're waiting for people to call. We have some people waiting, but not a lot. Boy, you guys really got me figured out here. Yeah. We won't call Alex till the interview's over with because the interview will go on forever. Yeah, but I like my interviews. I enjoy those. I don't know if anybody else does, but at this point, you know, with the kind of lack of audience that we have on these shows, I do it for me. Okay. Anyway, yeah, a lot of you are probably wondering why I am not wearing a cap tonight. It's because of a terrible rash on my head. No, you know, a while back, I used to be mad at people when I looked at them, and they were doing this, you know, doing stuff to cover up their hair, like bad hair pieces are one of them. Another one is the dreaded comb over. God, they're disgusting. They're worse than hair pieces. And the other one was people always wore hats, you know. And I went, why do they wear hats? Oh, they think they're hiding their baldness, huh? And I used to laugh at that. And then it turned out that I was wearing a hat all the time, and I wondered why. And I said, it's probably to hide the baldness. So I'm not going to anymore. I don't care. I've given up. I just sit in the house wearing jogging pants and do nothing with my life. Anyway, let's talk. We got a bunch of people now, so let me just go to them. Here we go. They should be coming in. There they are. Oh, one by one they pop up. We got Jeff, and we got Scott, and we got Trucker Steve, and we got Ray Renati. And Charlie Wallace is out there lurking somewhere. Here he comes, Charlie Wallace.
House wearing jogging pants. And
somebody's got their audio up.
We got a bunch of people now.
Who's got their audio up? Okay, it was Ray Renati. He can't get his picture up. He can't get his sound up. What's his problem? Anyway, hello, everybody. How are you this evening? Yeah, I noticed you said only 945 dead people, huh? Charlie?
Yep, still under 1,000.
Still under 1,000. Is this a little higher than yesterday or lower?
Yeah, it's a couple hundred more than yesterday.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, are you a little mad at the fact that your governor made a mandate that people didn't have to wear masks, and since he did that, the infection rate has gone down? Or is that a bad statistic? No. How do you explain that?
I'm not mad whenever it goes down. I wish it would go down. What I just don't know that I believe them.
Yeah, you think they're lying about the numbers?
Yeah, I think they're lying about it.
Oh boy, who do they think they are? Cuomo? Gee, now I'm making Cuomo jokes. You know, but what the hell? You know, it's true. It's true. But we had, let's see, we're up to 569,361 deaths nationally.
Yeah, as of 7 o'clock Central Time.
Could it be more than that? Is that a low number, do you think?
I think it's definitely a low number.
Yeah.
There are a number they know they haven't been able to count.
Yeah.
People either dying at home or misdiagnosed.
Misdiagnosed, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dying at home and never diagnosed.
Probably an older person and they just mistook it for something else, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty terrible. Any way you look at it, it's been horrible, and it's been
And it still is.
disgusting. What?
It still is.
Yeah,
It's still going on.
yeah. I mean, I think that Biden has done a pretty good job of getting the vaccine out there and making sure that gets done. I think if Trump were reelected, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We'd be only worse, right? So it's good. It's good. It's a good thing. Hello to Robert. How are you this evening, sir?
How are you?
I am fine. And hello to Tony. Hello. How are you, Tony?
I'm pretty good, actually. I'm all right.
What do you mean you're pretty good? You look so happy since your mother died.
I know. I told you I'm sleeping like a baby at night. I mean, I miss her, but I miss her. I do, but God, I didn't realize I was up all night.
Nobody says there's a law that you have to miss her.
I was gonna say I feel guilty sometimes, Alex. Is that
I went
bad?
to a shrink once. I paid him
Yeah.
thousands of dollars because I was depressed because my girlfriend had left me and kind of just put me in a funk that I was having a hard time getting out of. And so we spent months and months working around this. And every time I would go in, he would go in, so how are you doing with the girlfriend thing? And we would talk the girlfriend thing out. That's all we ever talked about. And one day I said to him, I really have other things to talk about.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of over my girlfriend. It's been a while now, and I found other pussy. Okay, so I'm not being, so I'd like to talk about some other things. He says, well, like what? And I said, the fact that I don't like my mother. Now this should be the moment that a shrink jumps into the fray and says, a home run, I can do something with this, right?
You're probably thinking of a vacation. You got a couple of vacations.
And he says to me, nobody says you have to. Now,
he must hate his mother, I bet you.
Now, how's your girlfriend situation?
That
was my last visit to him.
I would imagine all that money you soaked into him.
Yeah, and
all he had mother issues then, maybe he didn't like his mother then.
No, me.
Oh, you.
He said.
Oh, he said you don't have to?
I said, like, talk about my mother. And he said, what about her? And I said, I don't like her. And his reply was, nobody says you have to.
That's good.
I guess that's my advice to you. Nobody says you have to have liked her.
I mean, yeah.
It sounds like you always liked your dad better.
We were
wait a minute, before you go any further,
I think me and my dad did do a lot of the old movies. You're right. Maybe we were a little.
Before you go any further, lie down on the couch and we can talk about it.
Can I go over there? I'll bring I can lie on the couch. She's not there anymore. I'm joking.
Sorry, Tony. Your hour is up.
Yeah, your hour is up.
I'll send the check.
And by the way, it's only 50 minutes.
That's right.
I don't know, Alex. That's a tough decision. I think I liked them equally on a day.
What?
My mother did spoil me though, but my father watched the old movies with me, so I kind of had best of both worlds, and then she would dote over me.
Yeah. I always liked my father better. I always liked him a lot.
Yeah, you said that.
He was really cool, but my mother was a dope.
See, it would have been to me. It was a toss-up. Whoever was, they both had their pluses for me.
And mom ruined me for a lot of other women.
See, my mother spoiled me. Everything was me.
Well, basically because she was such a good fuck. But anyway. No.
You want to lay down? Talk about that?
Yeah, I think I should.
I can't lay down. I got a laundry list.
No,
wake me up.
What was I? Where was I going with that? I wasn't going with that. It just seemed like a funny joke at the time, which seemed to have gone a little awry.
Your mother spoiled you.
Yeah, no, my mother was cloying. She spoiled me for other women, okay, because she was really cloying and smothering, okay.
Meaning like what she picked at everything?
Yeah. So when some woman would come along and want to hug me a lot, I was like this, because my mother was just too cloying, as it were. So I guess I loved her in my own way, but my father I really dug. He was hip. He was cool. You know,
Yeah, your dad sounds like a really laid back guy.
Yeah, I wish you could all know my dad. You would.
Yeah, I would have hit it off with him. I bet. Yeah. He probably had a lot of good stories. He'd really be like, if you had a problem, you probably could talk to him. I bet.
Well, he was a musician, so he was hip, you know, and he was smart. I always liked his brains. He brought out the best in me, you know. So I mean, does every people here? You've all had both parents, I would imagine, or some. Huh? You didn't? What'd you have? One parent?
Just my mother. Yeah, I never met my dad.
Oh, really? So how do you? Here, come sit on the couch.
That's a good one, Alex.
Yeah.
I'm in the joke.
I think we got raw meat here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What was weird was I never could talk to my mom about my father either. I don't think I ever had a conversation about my father with my mother. It was weird. I don't know.
Really?
You don't mind me asking? Did he leave or?
I never really knew. You know, when she died, I found a marriage certificate. It wasn't a real marriage license. So, and on my birth certificate, he's got my name, but I don't know anything about him. She never.
Wait
told
a
me.
minute. You say you said it was you found a marriage certificate, but it wasn't a marriage certificate. What do you mean by that?
Well, no, it wasn't like an official license. It was just like this thing, you know, a marriage certificate, you know, witnessed by so and so, and it was literally 9 months before I was born. So I think it was kind of like, you know, she just said, "Hey, I got to get married," and he goes, "I don't want to get married," you know, and I really don't know what the deal was.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But how did you feel? How did you feel about that? Do you feel you know when all the other kids had dads, you didn't have one, or what?
Yeah, you know the thing was I grew up on this street in Sunnyvale with 3 families of single mothers raising boys. So, you know, I always had these kids that I was growing up with that didn't have fathers either.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
yeah, how did did that affect you in any way? I mean, later on in life?
I'm sure it did. It fucked me up, you know. But you know, I was always close to my mother all her life. You know, I never.
She raised you, and she raised you as a single mother, and I always had a great deal of fondness for single mothers.
Yeah.
Because I appreciated that they gave up a lot of their life to make sure someone else had one. Yeah. And so I've always been very sympathetic to single mothers. And I used to date quite a few single mothers, as a matter of fact. And I just always, there's one especially who I always told her, "You're my hero," you know. What she did is she had 2 kids. One kid died of cancer when he was about 21. But in the meantime, she didn't really have much of an education, so she went back and got herself a high school diploma. And then she went to UC and got a degree in medicine. You know, I mean, in health, rather, in public health.
Probably no support from the man, right?
What? Yeah, no support.
Probably no support from the man.
I think the guy was around, but I don't know how much support he gave her. But the thing is that I told her, "You're my hero." You know, the fact that you did this and still raised these kids, and they both turned out to be terrific. You know, they didn't turn out to be one kid was bad and the other one was something else. They were just terrific. And she was my hero. She was absolutely my hero. Still is to this very day, you know. Everybody else here have 2 parents? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my mom and dad got divorced when I was 3.
Okay.
And my mom raised me, but she passed away when I was 13.
Yeah.
She had just married a gentleman, and then he adopted me when I was 13.
Oh, okay.
But he was gone. He left me in the house. He was gone with his girlfriends and come by once a month and yell at me for no yard work, and then give me, you know, let's go to the store, fill up the basket, and then pretty much I raised myself.
This was your stepfather?
Yeah.
Wow. So how did that affect you? Did it make you? You seem like a very self-sufficient person.
Yeah. I just know I had to, you know, do what I had to do to make it. So education was really important for me. So I wanted to work nonstop because I knew I had that money, you know.
Well, you know, I was very, very discreet not to have kids, And one of the reasons was, and now I kind of regret not having kids, but the reason I didn't have them is that I took it as a very important job, you know, and if you weren't willing to do it 100%, then you didn't do it at all. And I knew that I was slightly screwed up, and I didn't want to screw somebody else up. You know, I think raising a kid is a very important task, and you don't take it lightly. And the other part was I was always worried that if I did have a kid with somebody, the mother would leave me, and then she'd take the kid with her, and I wouldn't stand for that. You know, so I didn't want to have to go through any of that. So I held off having kids until finally, you know, it was a little late for me to have one. Not that I couldn't still have one, but I was just getting late in years. You know, I didn't want the kid to grow up with a dead father who died, you know, of old age.
I was 48.
What? You were 48?
I was 48 until I had Adrian. I had no kids before. Yeah. Same as what you're saying. My real father had 7 kids, and I saw all that going on. And, you know, he had 2 with this one with mine, and 1 here, 1 there. My God, I did not want that. And I knew I wasn't ready. I was still working and having fun. So,
yeah. Well, and now you're a great father, it looks like. I mean, I watch you with
3 daughters.
Huh? Oh, your mic is too loud, Alan.
Again?
Oh, God.
I don't really understand about stopping the cycle.
Yeah.
So all the stuff, even when I was young with my stepfather, that had happened, and you know, going through life, man, I try to stop the cycle of all that stuff with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much better, Alan.
You have 3 daughters, Brian?
No.
No, I have the 1 daughter, and then Tiffany has a daughter and a son from a previous marriage.
Yeah.
So in Hawaii, it looked like you had 3 daughters. The long-haired blonde one, is that your son?
Oh, the blonde, that's my son.
Oh, I thought it was another girl.
No.
Oh.
No. That's the guy. Yeah.
Okay.
And let me ask you this question, Brian. How do you treat the 2 kids that aren't yours? I mean, I know that you've got to be really fond of Adrian because it's your first kid. It's yours, you know. But now
I have a couple other friends that are like in the same situation. Man, it's so hard to, you know, with Adrian, I hold, I touch, I kiss, all that stuff. You know, the affection is there. The affection is a little bit harder with Simon, though.
Yeah.
Because even when we first started dating, you know, you just hear about all these bad stories of stepfathers coming in and, you know, bad things happening. And man, I want to make sure that that's never a question is raised. So sometimes I have my distance a little bit, but I try as hard as I can to show the love all the time.
Well, you know,
well, just wait till Adrian's a teenager. He'll be distant plenty.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
a man that probably knows.
That's when I'm going to Alan and Phil. I'm gonna do some shooting.
That's right. Get rid of some stress.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also, I think, difficult from the standpoint that, you know, you have to let these kids know, hey, you know, I don't expect you to accept me as your dad, but I am the husband of your mother, and I care about you, and I'm here for you, and I'm all the things that a dad should be. But please, I'm not your dad. Don't think of me that way. I mean,
I mean, it sounds like bad for me to say this, but it was a sort of a good situation because I know how the relationship was with Tiffany and her ex, and then he actually had cancer and he passed away about 4 years ago. So not a good situation, but you know, they really rely on me for a lot of stuff. And he wasn't such a good father. Sort of those just, I'm here. What do you guys want to buy? You want an iPad and all those type of things, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I don't discipline them. Adrian, I will hit. Adrian, I will spank. I will yell and scream. The other ones I get a little harsh with, but I tickle them because that's worse than hitting them. Because
I saw an interview with, I was watching one of these comedians in cars getting coffee with Jerry Seinfeld, and he was doing the thing with Amy Schumer, who I have to admit I've never been particularly fond of, but she is goddamn funny. Okay. And they're talking about raising kids, and she says, well, I know, this is before she had one. She says, I don't know. I have nothing against, I have nothing against spanking, especially now. So I thought that was a great line. But my father never hit me. My father yelled.
Yeah, that's what my dad used to do. He
My
would look at
father,
me like
too.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
My father hit me once.
Yeah. My father never hit me.
Oh,
You know,
well,
no,
I
it never got
deserved-
out of belt or, you know, you're
I
gonna.
deserved it.
You know, maybe when I was baby,
We had
maybe
this
when I was a little
conversation.
toddler, maybe he gave me a little pat on the backside, you know, but nothing. He never spanked me, but he yelled, and I didn't want to get yelled at. I mean, that just because when he was mad at me, I loved my father so much that when he was mad at me, I felt very bad about that. I didn't want him to be mad at me or be disappointed in me. And so you know, where'd you go, Tony? Your mother's not around anymore.
I had to get a drink. I got a little lightheaded. I got my fruit drink. I know it's so quiet. Oh God.
You know,
Are you there? I'm joking.
but I tell them, you know, that they can have anything that they want. We can go anywhere.
Yeah.
We do whatever we want. But you know, they have to have the school. They have to get along and do their chores. So, other than that, I give them everything they want.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure, and I'm sure you're going to spoil Adrian all to hell. I mean, Tiffany's going to have to be the taskmaster in the family with Adrian, right?
Yeah, it started already. Sometimes it's bad.
I mean, does she?
You melt when she looks at me and wants a snack or something small. I say, "No, dinner time." Well, just one, Daddy. Just half a cookie.
That's what I did.
Oh, boy. She knows how to play you, is what you're saying.
I guess. Yeah.
I guess. Hey, what happened to you last night? Do you have computer problems or what?
I was mad at Alan. Couldn't take it anymore. No, just kidding. No, that's what he said on the show last night. My friend said, hey, Alan said he couldn't take it anymore. No, I tried. I didn't want to interrupt, and I had to go because Tiffany just came back from LA, and we had to discuss stuff. So
Okay,
so
good.
Yeah.
Well, I just
I
want to
didn't
make
wave,
sure.
but yeah.
Yeah. I got a note today. I just want to read this to you. And again, it's about Alan. And I hate getting these kind of letters. I hate them because of what they're trying to do by their inference. Here's what the person says. If I were you, well, it says, looking forward to another fun-filled hour with Alan, of why Alan doesn't like the Black Lives Matter organization. Not, if I were you, I'd get rid of Alan. Well, to begin with, this is not a bunch of people I hire, okay? So I can't call them into my office and say, Alan, this is your last day. You know.
Wait a minute. You mean I'm not getting a check for this?
Well, I get this.
Shit.
I get this money from the commercials that play at the beginning of the show, and I get I would say if I had to estimate it, $200 a year. So if you want me to split it among you guys, I'll be happy to.
Can't buy a Rolex.
And in that case, if I have to split it among the bunch of you, Alan, you're fired.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, get more money now. Yeah.
So if this person's listening right now, we all have opinions. I have no problem with. I don't like Black Lives Matter, but I do believe that the police overstep their bounds with blacks a lot in this country. And, you know, and I think that I'm entitled to like what I want to like, you know? And I just, you know, nobody really kicked me in the teeth. I was expecting to get, you know, all kinds of stuff yesterday from the crowd here. You know, I can, because I don't like Black Lives Matter doesn't mean I'm a racist. I have black friends. I mean, come on, this is bullshit.
Well,
I listened to the show.
How did wait a minute? What were you gonna say, Brian?
Oh, I was gonna say really quick, and I hope I say it right, but they say that no lives can matter if Black lives don't matter. You know, and I think that that's one of the things that they're saying, underlying. You know, I know you said like bad also or something like that, but I just really think that every life should matter, and if they don't, then you know, no lives matter, and that's I think really what they're trying to say.
Well, Charlie, Alan said something. How do you feel when you hear somebody say, "I have friends, my best friends are black"? So I wouldn't go that far. I have black friends.
I wouldn't.
Sounds like something George Wallace would say.
Sorry, that came out wrong.
I think if somebody really does have black friends, they don't need to say anything about it.
I'm sorry I said it.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. It doesn't bother me that you don't agree with me 100%, Alan. I can accept that.
You see, I never defend that I'm not a racist, okay? Because I may well be and not know it. I mean,
I think a lot of people assume, maybe not in this group, but a lot of people assume that all white cops are racists based on the few bad apples that are out there. And those bad apples should not be cops as far as I'm concerned. What happens if it wasn't a black man, it was a gay man or somebody from New York? It's all the same thing to me. I mean,
just as bad.
You treat everybody like a human being, like you'd want to be treated. So
yeah.
Or a black gay man from New York.
I like what he said.
What? What, Jeff?
What he just said. He says, "Well, I don't like New Yorkers." It's really.
Here we go again.
Not what I said. That's kind of what Brian said.
Well, personally, I hate Jews. So, I mean, it's...
Well, then 3 of us are in trouble. I think Charlie might be Jewish too.
We'll make him an honorary Jew. How's that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends are Jews.
Yes, Robert. Robert has
very good.
Robert has his hand up.
With all due respect, people that say all lives matter, to me it sounds whiny. And I'll give you an example. When there were the explosions in Boston for the marathon, people took to wearing T-shirts that said "Boston Strong." Well, you didn't hear St. Louis come about and say, "Well, we're strong too."
But we do in New York. We do. But all these cities did adopt the term. Like in New York, we have New York Strong.
Like we understood that they needed our help. They needed our sort of psychic support. And that's all it is. And to me, I don't know, complaining all lives matter to me sounds just as whiny. Come on, can't you just pitch in and understand that these folks...
I'll tell you though, the only thing that bothers me is the emphasis on black stuff, and the way blacks are being dealt with in America, when the Hispanics have been dealt with in exactly the same way.
The Chinese get it now too.
Chinese.
Not as bad as the blacks though.
Yeah. You don't think that the Hispanics were being, or no. You know what they call them now? Latinx, which I used to blow my nose in. I don't know what it is. I use Latinx. No, a Latinx. They use that now because you can't say Latin because Latino because that's male.
Yeah.
And you can't say Latina because that's female. So Latinx is now the new proper. You have to keep up with this stuff, otherwise you're a racist. Okay.
I think somebody misspelled. They were trying to spell Kleenex with a K.
Well, that was a joke I was making earlier.
Most of my Hispanic friends hate the term Latinx.
Yeah. But that's rarely. It's awfully new. I just saw it for the first time a few weeks ago, and I went, "What the hell is?"
I never understood why only people who speak Spanish are considered Latino, where Italians and French also speak languages which derive from Latin. So why I'm of Italian American descent. Why aren't I a Latino in that sense?
You are a Latino.
I never.
Turn your mic.
You're not
down.
Hispanic.
Ray,
Latino.
Ray, turn your mic down or move it away. It's too loud.
I don't want to be whatever this is, but it always puzzled me why we focus only on Spanish speakers as being Latino.
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny. What's his name? Lopez, the comedian, George Lopez, and I were talking about this on the air one day, and he didn't like the use of the term Hispanic. He said, "Where is Hispaniola?"
That is true. Where is it?
Where
Yeah,
is it?
that's
What?
right.
Where did Hispanic come from? He says.
Dominican
He says, "I'm
Republic.
proud to
It's
say it."
Dominican Republic and
Haiti
Haiti.
and Dominican
You know,
Republic are the island of Hispaniola.
Yeah. Well. In any event, he said, "I'm not Hispanic. I'm a Mexican." Okay. And I sometimes get confused with somebody from Spain who's
It's
Spanish.
referring to the
You know.
language.
You're gonna lump everybody together.
Well, no, but he did not like the term Hispanic. He thought it was.
Semantics.
But you know, I mean, I just send me the memo and I'll call you whatever you want to be called. Okay?
We need to have a
Because
little
I want to respect you, so just send me the memo. But please, don't leave me out of the loop and then blame me for being
Who
a
here
racist.
like
'cause
to eat rice and beans? Raise your hand. Okay,
Yeah.
those are the ones, Alex.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
I don't buy that.
Yeah. Oh, the rest of this note, by the way, you want me to read the rest of it?
Oh, sure.
Failing that, I'd be drawing into the conversation those who, unlike Alan or Phil before Alan, for whatever reason, hang back. They, like Josh, for example, have a lot to say. That's why I always go to Josh a lot, because he is in any group very resident to just speak out. In fact, I do something with Kevin and he and Patrick on Saturday where we just get together as a bunch of friends and talk on Zoom, and even there, he's reticent to just talk a lot. Okay, so and once he does, by the way, he talks up a storm. Okay, but he's very quiet and laid back. But anyway. You do turn them and try to get them to talk, but in my opinion, you should do much more than you do. You should do it every 5 minutes, not a couple of times a show. Thanks for listening. Well, massive prick. The problem here is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people here right now on this program. And if I go to every one of them every 5 minutes, none of the others would have time to talk. I mean, it's just, it's just impossible. Like, and some people lay back. Jeff joins in when he wants to. He basically likes being here. It's like being with old friends, right? And Scott is kind of new to this, and I try to get him to jump in when I see he hasn't for a while. But then again, I'm mistaken for Scott Boddicker, so I don't pay any attention to him.
There's no drink in front of me. My hair's short.
I don't see that at all.
I see a little bit. When I saw him on, was it Monday?
Yeah.
I looked at him like, I can see why you say that.
Yeah, you need a wig. You need a wig.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, well, Charlie, you're almost Scott a lot on the the other show after ours.
Yeah.
And he does look like Scott, doesn't he?
I didn't think so at first, but last week when I was looking at Scott after you mentioned that, I can see the resemblance. It's just that Scott has the long hair now. When his hair was short.
His hair's down to here now.
Yeah, I saw him on your thing.
Yeah.
I was cooking. I didn't know that was him.
Jealous.
Yeah. So
I'm jealous.
what do you mean you're jealous? Why are you jealous?
Long hair, come on.
I used to have hair down to here.
Yeah.
And if I had it now, then that would really be an ugly look.
Wow.
I always hate these people that grew their hair. I had a Robert Schimmel, who was a comedian, said to me when I first started really losing my hair. I mean, I was always been losing it to a certain extent, but he said, just cut it off, because I was holding on to everything I could, and I was wearing it long on the sides, and he said, cut it all off. And I said, why? He says, I call it preemptive baldness. You don't look as bald when you cut it all off.
Yeah.
You look trendy. And the reason I've decided now not to wear a hat anymore is because I don't want to be one of those people who wears a hat because they're bald. I'll just cut it nice and short and look like Charlie Brown, for Christ's sake, Good grief. Of course,
I don't wear a hat. I've worn a hat since I was a kid. It's just a habit.
Well, no, I mean, I'll wear a hat when I'm out, because the reason why guys who are bald wear hats when they're outdoors is because we don't have hair to cover our head from the sun. And if we don't wear a cap, we're going to get a bad sunburn up there.
I wear a ball cap when I'm in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Because otherwise my head will get burnt.
Anyway, John Cummings says, thanks for listening. Yeah. Okay. You know.
Fuck you.
Well, you know, I don't feel that, I don't think, do any of you guys find Alan an inhibitor to your joining in?
Not at all.
Is this a secret ballot? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Alan, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But he must have had a hard time with that last name growing up.
What, Cummings?
Yes. I think that's why he's upset.
No, I think he's upset because he ended up in your coffee last night when you were starting to talk to Phil. You said it looked like you just jerked off with the new creamer or something like that.
Yeah, well, I got new creamer now and I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Hey, did anybody see the article in the Times this morning about the Chauvin case and how rare it is for a police officer to be actually charged with a murder rap?
Yeah.
7 since 2005.
Wow.
And they estimate that your chances, or the chances, of a cop being convicted of murder are 1 in 2,000 cases.
Wow, that high.
Yeah.
Wow, and these ones who were charged with murder, you say, were they found innocent or were they found guilty?
No, guilty. No, these are the ones that were actually found guilty of murder. 7 since the year 2005.
So
let me ask you this, Alan, because you went through police academy, right?
I did.
You took that 2-hour shooting
saw the
course,
movie.
right?
That's right. I saw the movie.
Yeah. So you went through the police academy, and they taught you how to shoot for 2 hours. I think is what somebody said the other day about police, and
That's it.
you learned all the stuff. But at any point, did they ever say to you, if you unreasonably kill a perpetrator, you could be tried for murder? Did they ever say that to you?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. Not only that, you're responsible for every bullet that leaves your gun. If you miss the intended target and kill somebody else, you're responsible for that too.
Wow.
Not only as a police officer, but I think anybody's responsible.
Now, where did you go to the police academy? What city?
In Dublin, California.
Yeah.
Alameda County Sheriff's Department.
Mm-hmm. Were they good?
I don't know. I didn't have any comparisons first time.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. It was in the middle of the summer. It was 100 degrees outside every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I was 21, high school was we would jog in high school for a half hour, but on a hot day we wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
In the academy, we ran 10 miles up hills, down hills. Didn't matter what the temperature was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in the best shape of my life at that point.
Yeah.
And Robert, I heard also that, with all those cases, how many of their bosses or their superiors actually, went against him.
Yes.
And that's even more rare. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Rarer. Yeah.
Very rare. Very rare. So
the point of the article, by the way, wasn't to trash police officers. What they were doing was they were showing that what you've just witnessed is actually a rare event, in the American scheme of things, that more often than not, if a police officer is convicted and found guilty, it's a plea down to a lesser charge. That actually being nailed with murder, again, 7 times in the past 16 years.
So the point of this story is, if you want to kill somebody, become a police officer.
There you go. Yeah, you got a shot.
Yeah. I saw this clip today, and I can't remember who the congresswoman was, but she was giving a speech in Congress about police and how we should support our police and we should give them our support. And I don't know the rest of what she was saying, but all of a sudden, this Jim Jordan.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
Explain it to me, because I just saw it peripherally out of the side of my eye. What was it? What was the fight about?
I think it was some kind of a committee where Nate, the guy from Nader was chairing it, and she's an ex-cop,
yeah.
and so she was just saying, we should support the police, and the Republicans, they only want to, support the police when it's convenient for them. And Jordan interrupted her, and she was not going to. She goes, "I got the floor, Jordan. Back
and
off."
And he wouldn't shut up. He wouldn't shut up.
Is this the guy that was Jordan that was giving Fauci a hard time a week ago?
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah,
same guy.
This is a guy who thinks who's got to do this kind of thing because he feels the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
Or the bullet.
Well, we can only hope. No, excuse me. I'm not going to say that. I mean, this guy is just offensive to me on every level. Just offensive.
And doesn't he own a jacket, by the way?
No, apparently not.
I never see this guy wear a jacket.
No, he doesn't wear a jacket because he's working.
Oh, I see.
He's working.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Maxine Waters told him to shut up, right?
Yeah.
Did she? When did she tell him to shut up? Today?
When he was hounding Fauci.
Oh, when he's hounding Fauci. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Maxine Waters situation?
Who cares what she says? I'm so glad the judge didn't do anything about that.
Well,
he made a statement before the end of the trial.
Yeah, no, but I'm glad that he didn't allow it to declare a mistrial. I mean, it's not going to. The jury's not going to care what Maxine Waters says.
Well, they might be affected by what she says. Yes, not by Maxine Waters herself, but by what she had to say. That's why you don't go into a crowd like this before the verdict has come in or whatever. I mean, Biden did it, and I'm kind of down on Biden for having done it.
The jury was sequestered when they both.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The trial wasn't over.
Yeah.
And you just go, I have my opinion about this, and I'll let you know what it is, but right now the trial isn't over, and when it's finished and the verdict has come in, I will then let you know how I feel. But if last night, let's say that he was found not guilty somehow, all right? After what what's his name said, what Biden said. Yeah, what's his name? But after what Biden said, if there was a riot, it could be blamed on him, just like the riot in Washington was blamed on Trump.
Yeah,
because he could have been the cause for these riots was Biden.
No, I agree. I don't think they should have said anything.
No.
I just feel that the judge was right not to allow a mistrial, but yeah, that was wrong for them to say anything like that. It was really out of line.
Well, Biden, I was shocked. I was listening to the show last night and I heard you say that. And when I heard that during the day, if you really think about it, Biden has to be much more mature too. First of all, you have to have faith in the jury. I know people are going to say that it doesn't always work out the way, but you don't want to put any undue pressure on them. And like you said, say if this doesn't come out the way it is, it almost looks like Biden looked very unprofessional.
That was his most unprofessional moment, I think, since he took office.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, I'm happy with what he's doing. Although, did you anybody see the interview with Trump and Hannity?
No, I can't stand it.
And he got into why Biden looks like he's losing it because he's an old man. He says, I know people that age, but they don't fall down the stairs 3 times in a row and blah, 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 blah.
Did you notice that Hannity's lips kind of matched Donald Trump's butthole?
No, because I didn't notice Donald Trump's butthole. I just can't, my eyes are always frozen on that haircut.
Yeah.
But
what the funniest thing was?
Big time.
The funniest thing was when Trump goes, I talked to the governor of Texas, and he told me that we haven't had as much support for the Republicans since Reconstruction. And Trump goes, "You're talking about the Civil War." And I said, you must be talking about the Civil War. It's like, oh yeah, that Reconstruction.
Yeah.
It's like, he's so fucking stupid.
Somebody today among my friends put up a meme on Facebook that said, Monday, mass shooting. Tuesday, mass shooting. Wednesday, mass shooting. Thursday, mass shooting. Friday, mass shooting. Saturday, mass shooting. Sunday, Republicans attempt to keep transgender athletes from competing in high school sports.
That's good.
You know, hello.
Well, I don't know what we're going to do about the mass shootings, but it's getting a little out of hand.
Yeah, something's got to be done.
You know, and I don't know what the answer is. Of course, my answer is fuck guns, get rid of them. Okay, but I know that mine is not a popular opinion, nor is it an opinion which what he shared a file in the meeting. What is this, Ray? Why are you doing that, Ray? It only shows up here on the page, and then it's annoying.
He quit.
Well,
he quit. He can't take it anymore, I don't think, Alex. You're giving him too much of a hard time.
He's just like that,
we
Brian.
only have 30 countries around the world that have done something about mass shootings, and they don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
We could try and do what one of those countries did.
What is it?
No, the Republicans won't.
Yeah.
So Australia had a lot of mass shootings, and New Zealand, and they took the guns away from everybody, or highly. I have a friend of mine that's lives in Australia, but in any case, he said they're highly restricted now. But the crime rate went way up because the people that still had guns were the bad guys.
I love this notion of bad guys. I love this notion.
But there's some truth.
I want to go out and meet one. Do they have signs? Does it say bad guy? You know, is it like Wile C. Coyote?
Well, you know, you could say, you know,
if it's the guy that's shooting a gun or beating somebody
what do
up
they
on
say?
the street,
What do they say when you're banning guns? What's the whole line about that? If you ban guns, only the bad guys will have guns. Well, my feeling is if you allow people to have guns, only good guys will shoot people. You know, I mean, people are irresponsible with guns, and they serve no purpose. You know.
Did you hear what the guy from the NRA, Wayne LaPierre or whatever?
Yeah.
He was on some yacht, and he goes, "This is the only place I can find in America where I'm safe." And some columnist on the Washington Post was saying, "Oh, so now he's suggesting that we all buy yachts for everybody in America, so you can be safe on their yachts."
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand it. I just find no reason for guns. Hi, Ray, back again, huh? Don't chat, by the way, because that comes up in the picture and it doesn't look good.
I was trying to drag a file to the desktop, and somehow it went on the.
Yeah. Fortunately, it had all your passwords on.
Actually, what I should do, and I'm going to do it, is I should probably deactivate chat here.
That would be
good. I post on the chat all the time. It doesn't show up.
No. That's the chat on the. No, this is the chat on Zoom. There is a chat on Zoom. Yeah. But anyway.
Hey, Ray, look at your Facebook Messenger that Phil sent you a message.
Oh no.
No, it's good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's good. Just look at it.
Okay.
What happens on the show? Is Phil always lurking in the background or something?
Well, he watches the show, I'm sure.
I know he watches it, but is he lurking?
Like
is he lurking about?
I was watching him last night with you.
All these people that are picking on me always include Phil's name in there.
Yeah, why is that? Because you're nothing like Phil.
No.
Thank God.
To begin with, you're a liberal. You're not a right winger. In fact, I was thinking just to make this show interesting, I'd become a Republican.
Can you pass that off here? I wonder if you could do it.
Huh?
I wonder if you could sell that. You might be able
I'd be good at it for about 5 minutes.
Hannity would want to get on the show.
I'd be good at it for about 5 minutes until I couldn't stand myself any longer. You know? I tried it once, I think. Maybe I tried it at Sirius XM one day. I went on the air and just pretended like I was a right winger. And I could only do it for about 15, 20 minutes, and I couldn't keep it up. I couldn't keep doing it. It's too difficult to be a right winger, a reptard or whatever you want to call them.
Retards.
Yeah.
Some
Snowflake.
Yeah. Remember Ed Schultz?
Oh yeah, I remember Ed
Ed
Schultz.
Schultz was a conservative radio guy and suddenly switched.
Yeah, he was an asshole.
It was more for marketing. That's how he figured out to make more money, or he could make more money that way. So some people have done it.
Hmm?
Trump did it.
Now,
Well,
people
I
make
knew,
more
I
money
knew,
going the other way.
of course,
You
I
get
worked.
Somebody's been liberal and all of a sudden starts spouting this conservative crap, and they make a fortune.
I worked with Ed Schultz.
Yeah.
And a major asshole. And when he died, I didn't feel bad. Okay.
Is that the same guy who was Secretary of State? Or
Oh no.
Oh, no.
No, that was
It was,
George Schultz.
George Schultz. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was a political commentator on.
So Trump flipped. I mean, you know, Trump was a lifelong Democrat.
Yeah, but Trump
no.
Trump couldn't define conservative or liberal. Come on.
That's true.
Trump is just a
Trump was politically. Trump was a trumpet. I guess we could call him. He was for himself. He was for anything that would get him ahead and keep him 5 steps ahead of the bill collectors.
Yeah.
Right? And now he's not 5 steps ahead of the bill collectors. And according to Sean Hannity, he says he's working harder than he's ever worked. Sure, you got to keep those guys away, you know. But now he has no cover, you know, and he's fair game for anybody who wants to come after him.
Yeah.
And the only way he raises money is by telling his people to send him millions of dollars because he needs it to fight the good fight. But that's the only place money's coming in for him. So, you know. And I guess he gets a pension, doesn't he? Don't all ex-presidents get a pension?
$400,000 a year.
That's what they make being president.
Right, and they get that for the rest of their lives.
I get that. Yeah, they get it for the rest of their life, plus Secret Service protection. So
yeah,
and plus $1 million in business expenses every year.
Really?
Well, you know,
it's a travel.
This is we're starting to. We've got a lot of presidents out there that are getting, you know, protection.
Yeah, but Jimmy Carter builds houses for poor people with his.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, still, I mean, the fact that we're supporting these many live presidents, we can only hope they start dying off, so we don't have to spend the money.
Starting with the last one.
Starting with the last one.
They're not allowed to drive a car, though.
For me.
What was it?
It was Seinfeld.
Seinfeld
took Obama. Remember
with Obama, and he let him get behind the wheel of the car because they were doing, you know, comedians.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah. In cars getting coffee.
Aren't allowed to drive, right? Presidents aren't allowed to drive after that.
He says, I haven't driven in years. But he got behind the wheel of the car and he was thrilled, you know. But are they allowed to drive when they're no longer president? No.
Not allowed to drive. That's why I wasn't going to be president. I said no. I'm going to vote.
Oh, no, that's every reason for me to be president.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah.
Do they also hire people to carry you places? Is that a possibility?
Alan, you don't drive at all.
Alan?
You don't drive, Alan.
I mean, okay. Alex. You mean me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Alex. We look so much alike.
I'm
Alex. Have gray hair, beard.
Yeah. But I'm the one not wearing the cap anymore.
Without the hat, I don't know.
By the way, how do I look without the hat? Is it okay?
Fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
The moon, full moon. It looks beautiful every night.
You look like Telly Savalas with a beard.
Yeah, right. I'll start eating lollipops on the show.
He's dead though.
Yeah. So anyway, let me see here. So anyway, Jim Jordan is a piece of work. I'm just
that guy's awful.
Sick of him. And what else did I see? Was there anything else? Yeah.
The Anglo-Saxon caucus is an interesting thing, right?
Yeah, well, that's. Did you hear about the way that we come up with a jury has nothing to do with Anglo-Saxon tradition? It actually comes from Islamic law in the 9th century.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You mean the idea of 12 men and 12 women?
Yeah.
Wow.
You mean they even had 12 women there, or was it just 12 men?
But
12 men.
Islamic law, from the 9th century, and we adopted it because there was some king who was friends with some Islamic leader somewhere. I don't know the details, but it has nothing to do with Anglo-Saxon tradition.
And who was saying it was Anglo-Saxon tradition?
What's his name? The guy on Fox.
Sean Hannity?
No, the other
Tucker
one.
Carlson.
Tucker Carlson.
Oh, Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Guys.
Who, by the way, last week said that the government knows that all the vaccines cause diseases, but they're not going to tell us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what? I see in the news today that they got more vaccine than appointments across the country.
That's because all these idiot Texans won't get the vaccine.
Right. Well,
Mississippi.
Other places too, Charlie, and we'll never get to herd immunity, and that means we'll get mutations, and the mutations will at some point override the vaccine.
But wait a minute, don't we have some states that have already achieved herd immunity because everybody went and got the shots? I know that. I'll tell you where they do have herd immunity: Israel.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's because everybody's gotten the shots.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Rather Jews
Taiwan.
I just don't understand it. I mean, it's completely. It's just so anti-science, you know. I mean, what it's gonna fuck with your DNA. What do you mean, you moron? Your DNA's already been fucked up.
Yeah. That's right.
That's what inbreeding causes.
It'll be an improvement.
You know, I mean, that and what was the other one that I heard?
I don't get it.
It causes all kinds of things. You know.
Don't you find it odd that people are willing to risk their lives for political reasons?
Well, it's stupidity.
That's so weird.
You know, and quite frankly, I hope they catch COVID and die. Okay, I mean, I really do. I think they should have to pay for their stupidity.
I mean, it's almost like a kid going to school. When I had to go to school, we had to get the measles shot. You had to get all these shots.
Yeah, well, kids have to get shots. You know.
Can't we just force them to get shots?
I bet you could have companies.
No, here's what we do. Here's what we do. Here's what we do. We don't penalize them in the usual way. You don't get a shot. Okay. You don't get a shot. You don't get a card. You don't have a card. You can't get into a restaurant. You can't get into a movie theater. You can't get into a sports event. You can't get into you can't get into any of these places. You're an outcast from society because there's no place you can get into without your card being filled out.
Right. No fly list. They put them on that.
Yep.
You can't renew your passport.
Right. Now, before we go tonight, I want to ask Trucker Steve, because he hasn't talked much tonight. Last night he was very good at joining in. Tonight he and his dog has been acting like a little nipper, you know, looking into the thing.
He's not used to seeing you without a hat, the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, dog scared the shit out of the dog.
Steve, tell us where you are tonight. Steve?
Froze now.
Steve, did you hear us? Steve, where are you tonight?
No, your computer froze right up. What was that?
Where are you tonight?
Oh, in Fernley, Nevada.
Oh, so you're going back now?
Yeah, I'm on my way home.
And where is Fernley, did you say?
It's about 20 miles east of Sparks.
Oh, okay. I know where Sparks is. Yeah. Sparks is right outside of Reno.
Right.
Yeah. And
why did you stop in Fernley? Why did you stop in Reno?
Why don't you go to the Moonlight Ranch?
Because there's no Flying J in Reno.
Hey, this guy is driving a truck for money, okay?
Right.
You know.
Don't ask questions, Larkin. Come on.
Yeah. Well,
really.
Look at that nice cab he's got there. He can sleep in there. He can do the whole thing. He doesn't have to stay in Sparks, you know. Anyway, hey, listen, time's up. Got to go. Jeff, thank you. Thank you, Scott, having you here tonight. Trucker Steve, always good to have you. Charlie Wallace, Robert Natali, Tony Magno. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a man who really misses his mother. And as well you should, you know.
Not when I'm sleeping late.
Yeah. And John Larkin, thank you. Alan, thank you for joining us. Brian Neary, good to have you back. And Ray Renati, thank you. I always appreciate your coming down, being part of the show.
Good to see you, Ray.
Yeah.
Come on, more often.
Everybody give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye back at you. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Citizens Panel for tonight. They're through. They're gone. That's about it. That's all she wrote. We'll see you again. Well, Jack Bishop is next with The Intersection over most of these same stations. And then let's see here. Tomorrow night, we'll be back again at 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, please wear a mask, will you? And be safe out there and get a needle in your arm. And make sure it's not heroin. Okay. Good night, everybody.